back, everyone. In today's how-to video, we're going to go over how to shave down your front sight post to add a free float rail. So we're going to go from something like this to something that looks like this. And if you guys, I'm not sure how well you can see underneath there in that alpha rail, but that is just a shaved down front sight post, and we'll show you how it's done today. So as you can see there, we got the front sight in the vise nice and tight. I'm going to go ahead and cut the bayonet lug off first, and then this swing swivel point, and that's where we'll go from there. So as you can see there, we ground the bayonet lug off. Now we're just going to grind the swing swivel off the same way. Again, you want to make sure you leave the enough room here on the bottom for where your pins are going to go, your taper pins. So we cut through this side. I went ahead and turned it around to go through that side, so that way the swing swivel is not just hammering against your blade, which it wasn't for me. So that's what we did, just flipped it around there. And we'll go. Next up, we're going to cut off the front sight post here itself. You want to make sure you don't really go anywhere beneath the top of the gas tube there. So this is going to be our little starting point. We'll round it off after that, but we're just going to cut off above the gas tube. I'm going to go ahead and actually just mark some reference points on the outside here. I'm not sure if you guys can see those, but that way it'll help me when I'm cutting through, just to know, make sure I'm not cutting too much off. Probably not necessary, but better safe than sorry. And you can always remove more material, but you can't add it back on. So there you go. We'll get to cutting here. As you can see there, we got through the front part of the front sight. We're going to do the back now. Same thing. And we got the whole thing off. We're going to pull it out now and take it over to the grinding bench. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to grind this stuff down, take all these sharp edges off here on the bottom. The reason I'm using a towel is obviously it's going to get really hot. But what you want to be aware of is you generally don't want to go grinding down too much right around where those pins are going to go in, because that could throw off the tension on them. So basically that's kind of like our stopping point, excuse me, for grinding. So I'm going to go ahead, go over here on the grinder and start working it down and see what that's like. There you go, guys. You can kind of see how that's working out. You see it's smoothing out already. We'll go ahead and finish off this one, and then we'll talk about this one. So here's what this end looks like after we finished up with it. You can see there it pretty much has the profile. If you ever look at a low profile gas block, that's pretty much the profile it has, and that's kind of what you want to go for. You can see you left the pins intact there, so that way we'll still be able to use them. The holes for the pins, I should say. We'll go ahead and do the same up here on the front, as well as grind that out, and then we'll talk about the top. Alright, so you can take a look here at the bottom of it, see how that looks. That's pretty much how we're going to leave it, so that way the rails will still be able to go on over it. It's nice and low, but it still has enough room where it'll be a sturdy little gas block still. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to take the top and start doing the same. Grind down, so that way we're just above the tube here. So that's what's up next. So this is the point we've ground it down to. On a lot of rails that would be perfect and you wouldn't have to take any more, but we're going to be using the Troy rail. So the Troy rail that you guys saw earlier in the video is very, very low profile, as are a lot of the newer rails like the Midwest Industries Gen 2, etc. So for those, you really want to make sure you get down in there, make it really, really low profile, and in fact you probably want to take a little bit off the top of the gas block, or the gas tube, which is exactly what we're going to do here next. But just keep grinding it down until we get there, and I'll show you the next stop. So you can take a look there at what we ground it down to, right where you basically just start taking some of that material off the top. That's where we're going to stop. The Troy rail, that should be plenty for it. We're going to do the exact same thing to this rear portion, and we'll show you the rest of it after that. Once you got it ground down to the point that you're happy with it, and that's where you want to roll with it, what you got to do now is either refinish it or glue it or spray paint it or whatever. If you're going to use a spray paint, I recommend you use some sort of engine paint like that, high temp engine paint, because this thing is going to get smoking hot. But what I'm doing here is just using a little bit of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and cleaning up the surfaces there, because I'm going to be using a instant blue, cold blue, perma blue, I'm sorry, I keep saying the wrong word, to redo it. But again, it's not necessary. You absolutely can use just high temp engine paint or whatever you'd like to do that. As you can see there, we're using the Birchwood KC Perma Blue, and basically all you're gonna do is once that's dried off from the alcohol and there's nothing on the surface, no dirt, no nothing, just take it. You can also use a rag to do this, but just apply it to any of the surfaces you want to blue. You can see there it's already starting to take hold, but you're more likely than not gonna have to do this a couple times, 3 or 4 more likely than not. It just depends how much you really want it to be done. I mean, this isn't really a high wear part or anything, but you definitely want some sort of protection over that raw steel. So just keep putting it on. You want to not touch the parts like I just did that have the bluing on it, and you're gonna let it sit there for 60 seconds. And all you're gonna do is rinse it with water, and you're gonna repeat the process. So every 60 seconds, rinse it with water, dry it off. You know, you wipe it dry with a cloth or, you know, rag, whatever you have. Obviously not a dirty rag. And that's it. So you let it sit 60 seconds. I'm gonna do that a couple more times off camera, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like at the end. I went ahead with the bluing process 2 more times, and this is what we ended up with here. You can see there it's pretty even across the board, but there are some spots that kind of need to be filled in still. What you're gonna do now though is I just go ahead and put it back on the barrel, and as you can see there I got the pins because I'm ready to knock it in. I'll put it back in the barrel, pin it in, because during that process you're probably gonna nick something up, maybe one little scratch here and there, and then I go over and reblue the whole thing while it's on the actual rifle itself. But at the end of the day, what you end up with, again, is that front sight block. Not too sure how well you can see it there in the camera, but it is underneath that rail. It is nice and shaved down. You can see the rail fits over it with no problem. And that way you saved yourself 30 bucks. And in reality, in my opinion anyway, these pinned front sight blocks are very durable, probably more durable than say like a screw low profile gas block. I mean, those are pretty durable too, as long as you set it right in the barrel and dimple it. Anyway, point is to save yourself some money, do it yourself project. I hope this helped you guys out, for those of you guys looking for some information on how to do it. Alright, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. We'll see you guys in the next video.